Hello, everyone. Okay, so good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, and thank you again for coming to the Nimble training webinar today. As I said, today I'll be going over all of Nimble's main features, plus our browser extension and email integration. So feel free to type in your questions in the questions box as they come up. No need to wait for the end of the webinar. I can get to all the questions at the end, but if you have a question during, feel free to leave it in the questions box at any time, and we'll cover everything at the end. So to review, I'd like to take a minute to introduce Nimble, talk about what it's all about. So Nimble is an easy-to-use CRM that works for you in Microsoft 365, Google Workspace, and everywhere else you work. And what I mean by that is we also have mobile apps, and our browser extension, Nimble Prospector, allows you to access your CRM from any web app for as long as you have the browser extension. You can access your contacts anywhere. And so that covers what Nimble is. So let's go take a look at the actual app. So let's go to Nimble. All right, so here we are on the Nimble Today page. This page was designed to allow you to completely customize it to your specific needs and the role that you play in your company. But before the Today page starts populating with data and starts looking like this, we have to make sure that we have everything connected to Nimble. And there are a couple ways to do that. So first way is this top right corner. We have a little icon. It could have your profile picture or an initial like this. Or if you haven't set anything up yet, sometimes it has like the little eye here. But you just click that and then scroll down to Networks and Imports. Or another way to access this menu would be on the bottom left corner where it says Settings with the gear icon. You can just click that and then go to Networks and Imports in this blue menu bar. Okay, so once we're here, to connect your email or your accounts, it's really easy. And like I said earlier, Nimble does support all email providers as long as they are IMAP. That's IMAP. Currently, we do not support POP. That's POP. But if your email is POP, you can try connecting your email provider to see if they can enable IMAP for you. Now, that being said, you can connect your email by clicking this button right here. It says Email Accounts, and simply inputting the email that you'd like to connect here. You can also connect your Outlook email from here as well. And speaking of Outlook and Microsoft, connecting your Microsoft 365 email is super easy. So we have this button right here. It says Connect Microsoft 365 account. You just click that. And if you'd like to connect all of these things, so your email, contacts, and calendar, you just make sure all of these boxes are checked, and then you click Connect Microsoft 365. And you'll have a little pop-up window that just walks you through it right here. Similarly, with your Google Workspace account, you can just click this button, and we have separate buttons to connect your calendars and also connect your email and contacts. And similarly, if you click this, it'll give you this pop-up window that just walks you through connecting your account, and then you'll be all set. Okay, and so if you scroll down a little bit more, we have more options to connect other email accounts and also your social networks. Now, Nimble actually does have a direct integration with Twitter, so you can see your Twitter interactions with contacts as part of your contact records, and I can show you what that looks like later, but in the meantime, here's where you can connect that account. Nimble also works on other social media platforms like Facebook and LinkedIn with our browser extension, Nimble Prospector. And I'll also show you how that works later in the webinar. And speaking of LinkedIn, it's also possible to import your LinkedIn connections by downloading a CSV file and uploading it to Nimble through our CSV import wizard. Okay, so speaking of CSV files, they are a really great way to import your contacts, since a lot of companies track their important contacts in spreadsheets. Before you import your CSV file though, you can either first make sure that all your column names correspond with the names of the fields in Nimble, or you can manually map them upon import. So if you're transitioning from a different CRM or importing contacts from LinkedIn, it's really likely that we already have a saved mapping for you. So if I go to the top of the Networks and Imports page, in this Quick Connect box at the very top, there's a button that says CSV. So we just click that button, and then you can upload a CSV file here. So just as an example, oh, hold on. Okay, so as an example, I'll just pick a file. Let's go, sorry, let me just do this. Okay. All right, let's do this file. So here you can see on the right side with this blue bar, we have all of these different mappings. So if you're importing from another CRM like ActiveCampaign, Constant Contact, Contactually, we have all the different pre-saved mappings for you to make importing your contacts super easy. And you can also make custom mappings and save them here as well. So I'm just going to skip this because I don't want to upload all of these contacts right now. But if you have any more questions on that, again, feel free to ask them in the questions box. All right, so all of this being said, that means our Today page is ready to start populating with awesome data. Okay, so again, the Today page is completely customizable, so you and everybody else in your company can pick what widgets you want to see. The widgets can also be moved around, removed, and duplicated. And you can either click on the Manage Widgets button here at this top right corner to open up this interface here. You can click and drag all of these widgets using this little 6-dot button at the very top. So just click it. You can customize like that. So I'm going to close that. And the other way to manage your widgets is to click on the 3 dots at the top right corner of every single one of these widgets here. So if you click that, it'll give you the option to either move it, hide it, or duplicate it. You have the ability to duplicate because sometimes people like to have 2 boxes with their calendars, one with all their calendars and one with just their Nimble calendar, because sometimes you don't want to go through this drop-down menu all the time. So again, like, it's completely customizable. Whatever you prefer, feel free to customize your Today page for your liking. So let's go and talk about each one of these. I'm going to scroll down and start with call logging. So that's right here with this pink icon, the calls widget. So your call logging widget tracks all of your interactions with your connections to help stay on top of your follow-ups, improve your relationships, and measure your team's success. So down here with this blue icon is the next up. We have custom activities, and this will allow you to display all of your pending, completed, and overdue custom activities. And you can customize your view of this by clicking the drop-down menu. And we have all these different views here. Okay, so next up is the Deals widget, and I have that at the very top here. So with the Deals widget, you can check the status of deals and your overall pipeline while taking progressive action directly from your dashboard. And if you click into these deals, you can go directly to them, just like that. You can even create new deals with this button here. So next up is the stage funnel, and I have that down here. And this widget will allow you to track your sales funnel. You can monitor your active prospects, leads, and opportunities at each stage and see a quick overview of your stages to know where you need to focus to meet your goals. Right below that, I have my pipeline chart, and this widget shows all of your deals organized by date. And the color coding on each bar gives you a visual for the amount of the deals, for the deals you're managing by the stage they're in for that month. And you can also change the different views here. So right now I'm on weighted. You can also see total. If you have multiple pipelines, then you can pick the one that you'd like to view. And you can also customize the timeline that you're looking at. So next up, we have the tasks widget. Some people also call it the to-do list. And this widget will help you follow through on all of your to-dos. You can see all of your open tasks, your upcoming, overdue, completed, and important tasks, as well as the rest of your team's tasks. And you can customize that view by clicking this drop-down menu right here. Next, we have the events widget. Some people call it the calendar widget, and this will allow you to review your meetings for the day. And you can select from the drop-down menu if you'd like to see just your calendar or all calendars. And again, if you'd like to see both of them at the same time, you can just duplicate this widget and have them side by side or something like that. Next up, we have the signals widget, and that's this one on the right side with the blue icon. And with this, you can see how your prospects and customers are interacting with you on Twitter, which I think is a really cool feature since, at least for me in my work, I do a lot of interacting with people on Twitter, so this is super useful for me. If you're someone who does a lot of prospecting on social media, then this is definitely something that you will be using a lot. And so with the signals widget, you can see when people message you or mention you, and you can customize your view here as well. And last up on the Today page, we have the highlighted contacts widget. And this is a really cool one because it'll give you the option to see important contacts based on certain parameters that you've set, such as their title, their location, their company, or their interests. And to personalize the suggestions that you get for highlighted contacts, you can edit the search criteria within the contact keywords in your Nimble settings. So just to review, to access your Nimble settings, you can either go to this top right icon and then go to settings in this drop-down menu, or you can just click the settings button on the bottom left. And so we're going to want to go to highlighted contacts and see I have these keywords here. These are just the keywords that I'm looking for in people's bio or just anywhere in their contact record. If they have any of these keywords here, then they will show up in the highlighted contacts widget. And I can also customize it just right here. If I wanted to stop looking for presidents, I can just backspace there. Or if I wanted to start looking for another kind of person, say, let's do influencer. Then I can update that, and then my database will start looking for influencers to suggest that I connect with. Okay, and so that covers our Today page. And if you have any questions on that, feel free to leave them in the questions box. Next up, let's talk about the contacts page. So Nimble has a lot of really cool features, but it is a contact database at its heart. And so this is probably where you're going to be spending a very large chunk of your time in Nimble. And also as part of a recent UI update, the menu panel in the contacts tab is also now collapsible. As of a couple weeks, or I think about like a month ago, we changed this. So if anyone's like a returning user, just know that this is a little bit different than it used to be. But in this menu panel, you can easily see all of your contacts, just people, just companies, people you've marked as important. You can also see people you've recently viewed or added, people you've recently contacted, people you've set stay in touch reminders with, which is super important, and also people who you've removed. But I think that this is kind of like a temporary holding ground for removed contacts. Once you delete them, they're deleted permanently, but just in case you made a mistake and you want to bring someone back, you can access them right here. So let's now review what an individual contact record looks like in Nimble. So let's go to my important contacts, and let's take a look at John. Okay, and if you don't know, John Ferrara is our CEO and founder. So here you can see all of the basic information about him at the top of the contact record on the left in this little bio box. You can see his name, his avatar, his title, and the company he works at, as well as his social handles. And you can also see a short bio here. And we also recently added this new feature, which is the new contact data discovered notification. And it's actually a really cool feature because before, one of the only ways to automatically enrich your contact record was to add their social profiles and just kind of use the information that you get from there to enrich their profile. But now you're also able to find additional information by clicking this notification. And based on information that Nimble has collected from the internet, we can suggest different avatars, alternative names, their employment status, like a general location for their address, updated descriptions, URLs, social handles. There are plenty of different things that this new feature can find for you, apart from just what the contact record social profile finder can do for you. So this is like just like a suggestion for extra information. And you can manually pick the things that you want to update, just in case we get any inaccurate information or unupdated information. So that's a really cool new feature. Apart from that, we also have the options to easily perform actions from this page. So in the bio box at the very bottom, we have the option to add a note. And if you click that, it opens this little pop-up here. Let's close that. You can also log activities and schedule future activities. You can send messages, or you can add them to a deal. And you can do all of that from this little box up here. And you can also see what workflows they're in as well. And also similarly to the Today page, you can customize this page as well. So if you click these 3 dots at the very top right of this column and go down to Reorder and Edit, similarly to the Today page, you can click these like 6 dots here and just click and drag to customize your view here. So if you're someone that, for example, uses tags really, really often, then just drag that all the way to the top, close, and now your tags are at the very top. Okay, so that being said, you can also customize your privacy options for this contact using this box right here. So right now I have John set to viewable by everyone. But if I click the drop-down menu, I can change that to shared with everyone. I can make them private to myself, or I can set custom privacy. Now, privacy groups are really useful if you want each of your teams or departments to have different sets of permission. And this can really speed up onboarding. So, for example, every time you're adding a new sales rep to your team in Nimble, you can just add them to your sales team settings, and they'll have the exact same set of permissions as everyone else in the sales team. Okay, so that's privacy. Back to the Nimble contact record, you can also set up stay in touch reminders. So here I have my stay in touch reminder set to monthly, but if I click the drop-down menu, I have options for weekly, quarterly, or annually, and I also can set a custom period. So if I wanted to do this every 2 weeks or every 3 weeks, or if I'm feeling ambitious every 3 days, I could do that here. So that's the stay in touch reminder. And again, if you set a stay in touch reminder with someone, you can access them through the contacts page and then stay in touch. And this is everyone that you have stay in touch reminders with. So let's go back to John. Ooh. Hold on, I'm getting an error. Huh, that's really weird. Okay, I guess I'll pick a different contact right now then. Wait, Give me 1 second. I'm just gonna refresh the page because I think I'm getting a weird error. Huh, that is so weird. Okay, there might be a server error right now, so let me just try some other contacts to see if this works. Okay, here we are. We're back. Sorry about that technical difficulty. Okay, so where were we? Yes, so apart from stay in touch reminders, you can also set who owns the contact. So right now I own it myself, but if I wanted to make the contact unassigned, or if I wanted to assign the contact to a different team member, then I can just click this drop-down menu and select here. Or if you have like a really huge team and there are too many people to scroll through, you can just type a specific user like this, and then it'll bring them up like that as you're typing them. You can also review, edit, and create new tags using this box up here, as well as qualify leads using fields like rating, status, source, and type. You can do that down here with lead fields. Okay, and so on the right-hand side of the contact record, under your interactions, you can see the entire history of interactions you've had with this person, including all notes, emails, Twitter messages, deals, and any of their activities. And since the interactions page can get pretty overwhelming if you have a lot of interactions with this one contact, you can look at segmented views like this. So if you just wanted to see certain kinds of activities, you would go here and then click the drop-down menu to see the specific kinds of activities that you can have with other people. Similarly, for notes, messages, and deals, we can see them individually as their own tab right here. Okay. So next to the interactions tab, you can see the data fields tab, in which you can create tons of custom fields with individual, or tons of custom tabs with individual custom fields. It's a lot of customizing, but here you can see the kind of conventional fields like employment, email, phone, Skype, etc. Or you can add different fields to have here as well. And last up here, or actually not last up, you can also see the workflows that they're in, and you'll be able to access them through this menu. And if we click more and go to files, you can also attach files to your contact, and you can attach them from Microsoft OneDrive, Google Drive, Dropbox, or you can upload them from your computer. And so that covers the contact record. So let's go back to the contacts page and cover segmentation. So there are a couple ways to access the segmentation menu. The first one is at the top of your contacts page. You can click this button that says segment search, and it'll take you to this page. Or if you have the contact menu bar open, you can go to plus add segment and then click that, and it'll take you to the exact same page. Okay. And so you can search across many different data fields to help you organize your contacts into lists. So let's start with an example. If I click plus add contact filter, I have the option to look for people who maybe whose birthday was in the last month. I can update that. And I don't have anyone in my contact database whose birthday is applicable here, but theoretically you would get everyone whose birthday was last month or over the past 30 days pretty much. And so let me give a different example so I can have some contacts here. Okay, so let's look for people who I last contacted. Who have an email address. So that'd be email is not empty. Okay, so that's just do people then. And so once you have your search, you can take several actions. So for example, if I click all of them and have them all selected, I can mark them as important with this star. I can set a stay in touch reminder with all of them. I can tag them, or I can do other actions such as changing the owner, privacy, or adding them to a workflow, and I can show you more about workflows shortly. If I really want to, I can merge them, but I don't suggest using this very often unless you really do want to merge your contacts. You can also export them in multiple ways, and most importantly, you can send a group message. So if I click that button, it takes me to the group messaging window. And from here, I can make a targeted outreach to my list here. So Nimble's group messaging is a really great way to send targeted sales outreach or marketing messages to lists of your contacts. And a very common question that we get about Nimble's group messaging is if it can replace using a marketing automation system. And the simple answer to that is no, because our group messaging was designed to be used in conjunction with our segmentation feature to allow you to send targeted email outreach. The biggest advantage of Nimble's group messaging is that the messages are sent from your personal email address, so they'll appear as if they were sent from you and not an email marketing system. So when you're composing emails in the group messaging window, you have the option to customize a little bit so that it looks a lot more personal. So if I don't want this to be like a super generic message and I want to say, hi, Anne, I don't have to type in the name individually for every single message. I can just click plus add merge tag and then do first name. So right now it looks like this in the editor, but when it appears in their email inbox, it'll say their first name. So when it's sent to Anne, it'll say, hi, Anne, or in my own email inbox, it'll say, hi, Vivian, or something like that. So it'll just take the first name of your contact and then add it here. And we also have last name as well. So if I wanted to say, oops. So if I wanted to take this away and do Miss Handley or Miss San Gabriel, I can do that as well. And so there are a couple different ways to personalize your message like that. You can also attach files using this button here. And you can use our formatting options to further customize your email. So we have different fonts, you can link things and add photos like that. And you can also add your email signature. So to set up your signature, let me show you how to do that real quick. You can just go to settings and then your email settings in this blue bar. That'll be kind of in the middle. And then go all the way to email signature. And from here, you can either create a completely new signature from scratch, or you can just copy and paste the signature. It just depends on where you get your email signatures from and how much you'd like to customize it. So that's how you do that. So let's go back to group messaging. So we're back here. Once you create your email, you have the option to save it as a template so that your teammates can use it or you can use it again. And so you can do that up here. You can just click save as a new template, and then you can put all the options here. And before you send your outreach, you can also send yourself a test message to make sure that everything looks good, there are no typos in the message, and any links that you included are working. And also after you send your message, you can review the insights on the clicks and opens. But if you don't want to do that, you can just select don't track this message, and then you won't get that report. And I just got a question from Greg, and they're asking, can you turn off the sent by Nimble message on the group message? Yes, you can. You don't have to turn it off. You can honestly just like take this whole thing and just backspace, delete it like that. It's completely optional. You don't have to have that there. Hope that answers your question. Okay, so in that report that you see after you send your message, you'll get to see how many people opened your message, how many of them clicked on the links you included, and how many people have not opened your message yet. And you can use these insights to follow up with people and maybe send them another templated message or take other actions. And so that's on group messaging. So next up, I want to talk about activities, and that's going to be the icon right below group messaging on the left panel. Oh, before I get to that, Haley was asking, can you customize the unsubscribe link to a custom message? So if you click plus unsubscribe link up there, here you can customize the text that you want to display and the link that's associated with it. So that's how you would do that. And hope that answers your question. So back to activities. This is our activities listing page, and you can see an overview of all of your activities. You can also see, you can also schedule new activities from here as well. And you can narrow it down to tasks, events, calls, or custom activities as well. So in the agenda tab, let's go over there. You can see your scheduled activities and also schedule more using this button up here or on the individual days. So back to the list tab, this gives you a comprehensive view of all of your activities. And the table columns can be configured to quickly see which data is important to you. Additionally, activities can also be exported. So you'll be able to select team members who you'd like to see. So right now I have it set to all of my team, but if I just wanted my own activities, I can just select myself and click apply filter. So now the page is only showing my activities. And I can also select the specific kinds of activities I want to see. So if I only want to see events, then I'll just click that, and it's only showing me events, so that'd be meetings or webinars, things like that. And finally, I can also set the time frame that I'm looking for. So if I want to do January onward, then I can do that. Or I can also go back and do maybe December onward. So that'll show me all of my activities from December 1st onward. So once I'm done creating the view of the activities that I'd like to export, I just click this export button at the top left. Make sure that filtered activities is selected, and then just click export, and then it'll give me a file. Okay, and so that's our activities page. Next up, and this is a really exciting one, I want to talk about workflows. So workflows is a relatively new feature. Oh, do I not have any workflows? Okay, that's fine. I can show you how to make that in a second. Okay, so this feature is a relatively new feature. It was an extension of lead pipelines. And the workflows feature enables you and your team to visualize the progress of your contacts through people-related processes and projects. So let's see what a new workflow looks like. So to set up your workflows to reflect your internal processes, we would go and click select or add new workflow, and you can select a template. And see, we have multiple templates for a ton of different business functions. And all of these templates are completely customizable. So we have accounting, biz dev, fundraising. We also have like projects, real estate, sales. I'm on the marketing team, so I use all of these pretty often. So let's start with a press outreach list or workflow. So I can look through all the different stages right here. And if I like what I see, then I can use the template. So once you click Use Template, it opens up this interface here that gives you the option to kind of customize it a little bit. All of these stages are super customizable. If you click the Edit button, which is the little pencil icon, you can change the name of the stage and the instructions for the stage. And instructions are really important if you're going to be sharing these workflows with your other teammates, and you want to make sure that everyone's on the same page in terms of how to use them. You can also add stages before or after or in between all of these. And you can even delete stages just like that with the archive button. So I'm pretty satisfied with what I'm looking at here. So I'm just gonna create that workflow. So this is what the board looks like. In order to enter someone into this workflow, I can either click the Add Contact button at the top here, or I can put them into a specific stage using this plus Add Contact. So if I want to add a target, I can search through my existing contacts. So let's look for someone to put here. So let me just add her in there and see they appear here in the workflow now. Okay, so when you see a contact in your workflow, we have all of these different fields here that can also be customized. If you want to see different fields in this card, you would go to Configure Fields. And you can change the order that the fields appear in. So if I don't really care about when they were last contacted, I can put that at the bottom. But what if I really care about what their focus is? I can drag this all the way to the top. And so now it's kind of more what I'm looking for in these workflow cards. I can also add new fields by selecting Create New Field. So I just select the workflow that I want to show this field in, and then the field type. And we have a ton of different types here. And it really just depends on what you'd like to track. So I'm just going to do some short text there and say maybe favorite ice cream flavor. And then I can just create that field. And so now you see in this card, that field shows up at the very bottom. And if seeing all of this is super overwhelming and you just want to look at your contacts going through your stages, you can click Collapse Fields, and now you have a simplified view. So when your workflow is like full of contacts and you don't want to scroll super far down just to see people, you can collapse all your fields and then it'll show these super simplified cards. And also, you can convert your contacts to deals when they get to the end of your pipeline. So if I click and hold, I can drag them into the different stages, or I can exit them as successful. And then I can add them to a deal. And so that brings me to the Deals tab. So I'm going to go down there. So here is the Deals tab, and you can use this feature to manage your sales opportunities, your marketing projects, regular projects, renewals, and more. And what differentiates this from the Workflows tab is that your deals will show a monetary value. So if you want to track specific monetary sales goals, then this is going to be a very useful feature for you. So Nimble allows you to create as many pipelines as you need. And the account owner can delegate permissions to different users to be able to configure and create your deal pipelines. So to create a new pipeline or to edit an existing pipeline, you can go to Customize Pipelines. And I have a question from Lucy, and they're asking, do you have to start them in a workflow, or can you just add someone to a deal? And that's a great question. Yes, you can just add someone to a deal. You don't have to use workflows to use deals, and similarly, you don't have to use deals to use workflows. They are pretty like independent features. You can use them in conjunction with each other. So for example, if I had a lead pipeline and I wanted leads to end that pipeline by going into a deal, then I can set it up like that. Or if you'd rather just go straight into deals, you can do that as well. And I hope that answers your question. Okay, so back to deals. So let's go to customize pipelines. And so that would be this third thing right here. So here I can add a new deal pipeline. So I'm just going to click that plus add deal pipeline and then give it a name. So I'll say new deals and click save. And so now I have a new pipeline. So if I click into there, I can start customizing it. Now, for the number of stages, this completely depends on you and your sales process. So you can add as many stages as you want, and you can also click and drag them if you need to reorder them. You can also rename them, etc. And Nimble also gives you the option to limit the number of days you'd like to have them in each stage, or like a timeline or a deadline for you. So that's on customizing, and you can also customize the amount ranges. So if I go into a sample pipeline that I have all of these stages with the names, and they're all set to like 30 days in each stage. I can also click and drag them to customize this. So back to the main deals tab. To create a new deal, I would just click this new deal button. And now I have the option to name it, give it a probability for closing, select the primary contact. I can also add participant contacts. I can select the amount, expected close date. I can also assign it to someone specifically and edit privacy options right here. So I just click save once I'm done. I didn't put anything though, and then they'll show up right here. And from there, you can also export this deal pipeline to a CSV. And you can do all of your deals, just active ones, the ones you've won, the ones you've lost, or specific team members deals. And so once you're satisfied with what this looks like, you can click export. And Lucy's asking, do you get alerted when you are close to the set deadline or if it goes past it? Let me actually check that. We do have some notification settings. So here, the activities shares insights on important engagement opportunities. So I think that might be here in this daily summary. You can subscribe to like a daily email from Nimble showing you kind of like a summary of the important things that you're doing in Nimble. So let's see if this includes deals. Okay, so that might not include deals. I don't think that you get notifications, but when it does reach the deadline, it'll show like a different color. So you can see these ones are red because they've hit that deadline. But if they're just gray like this, then you're pretty much safe. Okay, so that's on deals. I think that's everything that I want to cover for deals. So let's move on to reporting. Okay, so last up for main features, within Nimble, we have reporting here. So here you can build reports for specific pipelines. You can do this for your whole team or just for an individual user. And you can also select any specific time period. So you can choose from one of our preset time periods, and we have all of those up here. We have this week, last week, this month, last month, etc. Or you can click this calendar and do something a little bit more specific. Okay, and so right now we're on the dashboard, and this is where you can view yourself and your team members' deal progress at a glance. The next tab would be the forecasted deals. And so this will show you all of your future deal outlooks. And again, you can select our preset time periods or create your own. And then last up, we have our deals history, which is where you can view all of your historic deal results. I don't currently have anything in here, but this is where you would see like a chart to outline that for you. And again, you can sort by the preset time periods or create your own. And so with that, that covers everything in the main Nimble app. So I'm going to go on and start talking about Nimble Prospector. So Nimble Prospector, and if I just open this right here to show you, you can see that. So Nimble Prospector is our browser extension, and it's available on Firefox, Chrome, Microsoft Edge, and Safari. And Julie, if you could put a link to Nimble Prospector in the chat, that would be awesome. But back to Nimble Prospector, it works on any website, in any third-party cloud-based application, and also on any social media platform. That being said, let's see how it works in LinkedIn. So I have my LinkedIn open right here. And also feel free to add me on LinkedIn if you'd ever like to ask questions. You can contact me there. So if I open Nimble Prospector like this, I have like this search contact tab. So if I'm prospecting and I want to search up a specific person, I can type them in here. But the cool thing about Nimble Prospector is that it allows you to create new records and update existing ones straight from LinkedIn or whatever social media platform you're using. So if I have Prospector open and I hover over somebody's hyperlinked name, so Leah's right here, I'm just going to hover over her. I didn't click anything. Her contact record will be automatically generated by Nimble. And I can add her by clicking this blue button here. So once I've added her, I can just click into her contact, and from the browser extension, without having to go all the way back to the Nimble contacts page, I can see all of the details that Nimble picked up for me. And I can also click on the suggested social profiles here. So for example, don't know if she has a Twitter, but hypothetically, let's say that this is her Twitter account. Oops. So I'm just going to click that check. And now it's going to suggest new contact data for me. And I can edit all of those fields here directly from Nimble Prospector without having to go all the way back to the main Nimble contact page, which is super important. And you can also customize your view of this as well. So here, kind of similar to the contact record in Nimble, you can just click these top 3 buttons here and then open this menu and then click and drag. And you can also change the side of your screen that this shows up on. So I like to have it on the right side, but I can also have it on the left if that's what I prefer, using this button right on top of your profile icon. And another way to create new contacts with Nimble Prospector is to go directly into someone's profile, or maybe if you're on like a company page and their names aren't linked, then you can highlight their name. Wait, let me go back. So you can highlight their name, give it a second, and there we see that Nimble does the same thing. It creates an automatically generated contact record. So if I just click in there, oh, actually, I think this is already a contact of mine. So if I highlight a name of someone who I already have in my contacts, Nimble will bring up their contact record for me, just like that. And again, I can see all of their contact details and do pretty much the same things as I can in the main contact record. So I can add notes, log activities, etc. I have all the same functionality right in this little sidebar here. And this will save you plenty of time from going back and forth between your pages. And so last up, I want to talk about Gmail. So let me open up my Gmail right now. So this will give you a good idea of what Nimble will look like in your email inbox. So for Gmail, you just want to make sure that Nimble Prospector is installed in Google Chrome or whatever browser you're using. For Microsoft 365 and Outlook, we do have separate add-ins. And if you go to the Nimble Prospector page, you can see the different downloading options that you have. But for those ones, you're going to have to get an add-in. So for me on Gmail, this is what it's going to look like. So I'm going to open up one of my emails. Let's just do, yeah, let's do this one. Okay, so you can see on the right-hand side, Nimble Prospector shows up within my Gmail. I didn't have to click anything. I just went straight into the email and it automatically came up. And they bring up the contact records of anyone associated to this email. So I have all these people that are in this email and people who are CC'd, and they just automatically show up here. If I don't already have them in my contacts, I can click the blue button to add them. Or if they already are in my contacts, it'll show the existing contact record, just like that. And that, I think, is everything that I want to cover for the main Nimble app. Now, before I get into the very end of this presentation, I did want to say that we do have a special offer for new users. Oops, let me go back. If you sign up today for a free trial, you can get 30 days of Nimble for free. So just go to nimble.com/offers/webinar30. And Julie, if you could put that link in the chat, that'd be great. And I also wanted to invite all of you to join the Nimble community. We're very present on social media. We have Twitter, LinkedIn, Facebook, and YouTube. And we also have a special LinkedIn product community page where you can learn about Nimble directly from us on the team or from other people who are avid Nimble users. And so that's a really cool community to join, especially if you're just learning about Nimble and you want to hear about other people's opinions on it. Okay, with all of that, I think it's time to get into questions. So if you have any questions, feel free to drop them now as well. And I think I answered a couple of them as I went. Okay, so Greg is asking, oh my gosh, where'd the question go? Sorry, hold on. Okay, so Greg is asking, for Outlook, is it possible to use the desktop version and get the Nimble fields, or must the browser version be used? So like I said, you can get the Nimble add-in for Outlook, and then if you're using the desktop app, then you will have a little icon in there that you can use. Let me see if I can find find that for you. Just search for this in the other window. Give me 1 second. Might be able to find a screenshot of it. Okay, so this is what it looks like in Outlook. You would have an add-in here at like the top right, I believe, and then it would look pretty much the same as it does in Gmail with all the same functionality. Okay, and so Haley is asking, does Nimble integrate with accounting programs? I use Wave. That I'm actually not super sure of myself. I think for that, you might have to reach out to care@nimble.com. They should be able to tell you. I'm not really sure of all the things that we integrate with because it is a lot of stuff, but they will definitely be able to tell you. You can let them know what programs you use specifically, and they'll let you know if we have an integration with that. And Lucy's asking, are API integrations available? I'm not really sure how to answer that specifically. I'm sorry. So that, again, I think that you would have to reach out to care@nimble.com for that. Greg is asking, what is the best practice for adding a new record at the contact page, or should the company be added first? That's actually a great question. I wanted to kind of get into adding contacts because I do have a couple suggestions. So yes, you can add them just directly from the contact record here and kind of create them from scratch. You can also add them using Nimble Prospector like I showed you previously. It kind of just depends on your workflow and where you find contacts, but I do definitely want to suggest that if you're importing mass files of contacts like through CSV files, just make sure that you're only importing people that are relevant and also tag them as you import them. We have a whole webinar specifically for best practices for importing and managing contacts. And if I go here, yeah, so on February 23rd, we have a special webinar about contact cleanup strategies. So I do suggest signing up for that so that you can kind of get a more in-depth view of contact cleanup and best practices for contacts. And I hope I kind of answered that question. I was a little bit vague about it because it does just depend on your preference and how you want your contacts to function, I guess. Peter is asking, can you show again how to add Prospector to an existing account? So Prospector is just a browser extension. If you already have a Nimble account, then you don't have to do anything special. But to add Nimble Prospector, let's just go to the Nimble website and then go to Prospector here. And so, by the way, this is just nimble.com. So you would go to nimble.com and then go to Prospector. And so here we kind of give you an overview of Prospector, and if you scroll down, we have all the different browser extensions. So for Google Chrome, which is what I use, oops, let me just close that. I would click install the Chrome extension, and then it'll take me to the web store. And you can do that for all the different browsers. There's Safari, Microsoft Edge, Firefox, and so depending on what you use, you would just go to that store and then download it. And you don't have to do any like special logins. If you're logged into your Nimble account already, then it should just automatically log you in. And also, when you open Prospector, there's this option down here for you to sign out, or if you're already signed out, you can sign in from here as well. I hope that answers your question. Okay, Greg is asking, will tasks be auto-populated in Nimble if entered in Outlook, or must they be added into Nimble? I believe that we sync with your Outlook tasks. Let me just check. Okay, just want to make sure. Creating tasks. Okay, yeah, so tasks can be created or accessed from the Prospector app, Office 365, and Gmail widgets. I believe that if you have the Outlook add-in, then it should sync those tasks. But Julie, if you don't mind, would you be able to kind of look into that and let me know so I can check that out? Okay, wait, so for now, tasks will have to be added into Nimble manually. Okay, yes, so that is the official answer. Tasks do need to be added manually, but I think that automation is on our list of to-dos for the coming updates for the next couple months. So you can look out for that as a new feature. Okay, so Donald is asking, is there a training module that covers email campaign automation? So to kind of go back to our group messaging feature, oops, Nimble's already closed. But to go back to the group messaging feature, it is mostly meant for like specific personalized outreach. We do have like limits on our group messaging. I think the standard is 100 messages per day, or sorry, 100 recipients per day, I believe. And you can go up to 300, but we have those limits specifically because we kind of differentiate ourselves from marketing automation because we want people to use our group messaging in conjunction with our segmentation feature. And what that means is that it's meant to be more personalized for more specific marketing outreach. I don't think we have email campaign automation per se. If you did want to do like mass marketing emails, I don't think that Nimble's group messaging is necessarily like the best feature for that. That being said, though, you can send group emails up to, again, like up to 300 people. But it does differ from marketing automation. And I hope that kind of answers the question. But again, there are more specific webinars that you can attend to kind of answer that question. And also, we do have a lot of features, or sorry, a lot of videos on our YouTube channel outlining specific features like that. So I highly recommend taking a look on our YouTube channel to see if we have anything there. And I think that covers everything. So thank you so much again for everyone for joining me today for this webinar. And I do want to invite you for our next webinars. Next week, we're going to be covering workflows, deals, and reporting. That one's going to be an exciting webinar since our workflows feature is pretty new. So we're doing a lot of pretty regular updates on it. So I highly recommend joining that webinar. We have another general overview in 2 weeks, and we do this every 2 weeks. So if you would like to invite your team members to learn more about Nimble, kind of as you're learning about it as well, I highly recommend bringing them all in for that webinar. And then the week after that, we have our contact cleanup strategies. Like I said, if you're looking to learn more about best practices for your contact database, definitely recommend going to that webinar. And all of these can be accessed through our webinars page. So that's nimble.com/company/webinars. All right, and with that, thank you all again for joining me today and have a great rest of your day. Thank you.